Imagine two neighbors who spent 8 centuries fighting each other, raiding villages and killing kings, yet one day they decided to share the same house and try to make it work. That's England and Scotland. And here's the strange part, England never actually conquered Scotland the way most people think. There was no final surrender, no total military takeover. So why did they unite? The real answer isn't about battles. It's about royal marriages, empty bank accounts, fear of common enemies, and one brutal winter that changed everything. Let me walk you through it. For 800 years, England and Scotland were rivals. Think William Wallace, think Braveheart, think Bannockburn in 1314 when Robert the Bruce led a smaller Scottish army to victory against a much larger English force. Scotland was independent, proud, and stubborn. England tried to take it by force. Edward I, called the Hammer of the Scots, invaded the country, stole the Stone of Scone, and executed Scottish leaders. But Scotland survived. By the 1500s, it was still its own kingdom with its own king, parliament, and church. So how did they end up in the same country? It started with a marriage meant to create peace. In 1503, King James IV of Scotland married Margaret Tudor, the sister of Henry VIII of England. That wedding did more than stop a war. Put Scottish royal blood into the English line of succession. That detail became critical in 1603. Queen Elizabeth I died with no children and no direct heir. The closest relative with a claim to the throne was her cousin, James VI of Scotland, the great-grandson of that marriage. Without a battle or invasion, the King of Scots rode south to London and was crowned King of England too. Historians call it the Union of the Crowns, but it wasn't a true union of countries yet. Scotland kept its own parliament, its own laws, and its own taxes for another 100 years. They were separate nations that just shared the same king. The final push toward full union came from disaster. In the 1690s, Scotland gambled nearly half its national wealth on a colony in Panama called the Darien Scheme. Farmers sold their cattle, widows sold their jewelry, and almost everyone bought shares. The colony failed completely. Disease, Spanish attacks, and poor planning wiped it out. Thousands died and Scotland went bankrupt. This happened during the 7 3 years, a time of crop failure and famine that left the country starving. England saw a broken, desperate Scotland and got nervous. France was England's main enemy, and London worried that a weak Scotland might ally with the French. That would mean war on two fronts. So England made Scotland an offer: unite with us in one parliament, get full access to our empire and trade routes, and we will pay off all your debts from the Darien disaster. For many Scottish nobles facing financial ruin, it was the only choice. In 1707, the Scottish Parliament voted itself out of existence. The Acts of Union created the new country of Great Britain. The public hated it. Riots broke out in Edinburgh and the treaty had to be signed under guard. The poet Robert Burns later said Scotland was bought and sold for English gold. Many people saw it as a betrayal, but others saw a lifeline. After the Union, Scottish merchants could trade freely in English colonies. Glasgow grew rich from tobacco. Scotland also entered the Scottish Enlightenment, producing thinkers like David Hume and Adam Smith who changed the world. So was it conquest? No. England never forced Scotland to surrender. Was it love? No. Centuries of mistrust didn't vanish overnight. It was survival and opportunity. It was a marriage of convenience between two tired nations that decided they had more to lose by staying apart. That debate still isn't over. Scotland has its own parliament again today. It has its own legal system and its own strong identity. Every few years it asks the question, should we stay in this union? Unions built on necessity instead of affection are always complicated. England and Scotland prove that. England didn't conquer Scotland. Scotland walked into the Union with its eyes open, knowing the risks, hoping the new house wouldn't fall apart. And more than 300 years later, they're still living together, still arguing, and still working out the terms. If this video helped you, then like the video, drop a comment, and subscribe to the channel.